If you've been following this channel, you know that I do talk a lot about Marvel Legends in terms of action figure collecting and adult collector hobby because, well, Marvel Legends are kind of, firing on all cylinders, you could say. I mean, the character selection that we've gotten in the last 15 years has basically produced really the best comic book line of all time, and I say that as the former brand manager of DC Universe Classics. Now, the thing is, with Marvel Legends, while I collect Spider-Man and X-Men, they're so cool that I wind up getting figures that I really never intended, like weren't on my list of figures, such as all of these Avengers. I don't collect Avengers toys, yet I wound up having almost the whole team just because of buying cool toys. So, as I said, I like to collect Spider-Man, and, well, my shelf is basically now going beyond Spider-Man villains as I've added characters like Aunt May has come out, Peter Parker, Frogman there. So I'm kind of looking at adding allies instead of just Spider-Man bad guys. And one of the biggest Spider-Man allies is Daredevil. I don't have a Daredevil. I never got one. And it's interesting because there's two types of figures out there. There is the one and done character, meaning an action figure that is more of an obscure character. Maybe they're more adult themed. Maybe they're just weird. But yeah, like Frogman, who I was just talking about, who recently got added to my World of Spider-Man shelf, the chance of ever getting another comic book stylized Frogman, I mean, maybe we'll get the one from She-Hulk, but yeah, probably slim to none. This was it. Daredevil, on the other hand, is a character that is not one and done. He's a major, or, B-plus level, maybe character for Marvel, if Spider-Man was at A level. But yeah, you get a Daredevil every couple years. Which basically means if you're like me and you don't have Daredevil, well, you just have to basically play the waiting game.
Now we play the waiting game. No, the waiting game sucks. Let's play Hungry Hungry Hippo.
All right, so yeah, I have passed on Daredevil after Daredevil after Daredevil because, like I said, I was collecting X-Men characters and Spider-Man villains, and Daredevil doesn't qualify as either of those. But now that I'm looking at adding a Daredevil, I'm wondering which one. The problem is, as I've noted in a few videos, we're kind of in the middle of what I'm calling the toy apocalypse as far as adult collector toys. I mean, kids will always have toys. What I mean by this is when you look at current figures versus ones from just a few years ago, you can really see the differences from cost reduction. Deco, accessories, basically everything costs more. The production, the raw materials, the labor. Labor is really the big one. And this gets passed on to consumers. We're paying $25 for a basic Star Wars figure, which is odd because that's the same amount that a 6-inch figure was. So it's weird out there. We're essentially paying more and getting less. A basic figure should really be about $35 if they were going to put the full value in it. I mean, they're even cost reducing the package. I know Hasbro is taking a step back from this, but this was a cost saving that was not passed on to the consumer. And you look at toys, not just Hasbro, but, Mattel, deco, light fabric, cost reduced fabric, and figure after figure, it's starting to realize that the figures that came out 10 years ago are kind of better than the ones we're getting today. Belts are painted, rivets, buckles, washes. They just were able to put more money into them because they didn't cost as much to produce. And as I've passed on kind of, Daredevil after Daredevil over the years, well, I always figured if I wanted one, I would just, he's a character that's always going to be made. Well, that's exactly the problem. The current Daredevil, or the latest one, if you will, from this 3-pack, has been, I've watched some reviews online, and yeah, fans have been pretty clear. I mean, you can see, look, the belt buckles aren't decoed. He doesn't have the wash, or, what's that creates that shine on the one on the left. Yeah, he's got like maybe a longer weapon, but looking at things like the straps and the boots and the gloves that are unpainted, the current Daredevil is not as good as the ones that came out a few years ago because now, in order to get the figures to that even high $25 price point, they have to be cost reduced. Like I said, if we were going to get a figure that was the same quality as 10 years ago, we would basically be paying about $35 for a figure. And the current Daredevils that we've seen, outside of traditional, well, I mean, they're not, the traditional version of it. So it's not like I can kind of wait and pick one up. What I need to do is go on eBay or hit comic book stores or McKay's Books and basically find one on the secondary market. Because if I'm going to add a Daredevil to my collection, which I want to do now, I can't wait for a new one to come out because the older ones are absolutely superior because we have now crossed over into that, what I'm calling toy apocalypse. Maybe it's too strong of a term, but yeah, is the end nigh for us to be collecting figures? Luckily, there's a lot on eBay, so I guess that's where I'll be heading to fill out my collection now because future figures are just not painted as nice as current figures and past figures. What do you guys think? Are you having the same struggle when you look at adding new characters to your collection, that older versions are actually better than what we're getting now? Let me know in the comments below. Love to have a discussion. Thanks for watching, thanks for sharing, and I'll see you guys in the next video.